Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'll be doing a review of this book, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Skippy will be joining me on the couch, but I'll be doing all the talking. This is a YA book set in a world that has recently been devastated by a disease, and it is known as IAN for short, but it stands for Idiopathic Adolescent Acute Neurodegeneration. And this particular disease has killed most of America's children. For those that have survived, they have developed these very strange abilities that make them not only a danger to themselves, but to the general population. And the government has decided to gather up all the children and send them to rehabilitation camps. Now, this book is told from the point of view of Ruby, who at the time, when she was 10 years old, an event took place back at her home, and it was determined that she had this particular disease and developed these abilities. And she is taken away to be sent to Thurmond, which is one of these rehabilitation camps. She describes early in the book her arrival. All the kids are kind of gathered up, handcuffed, blindfolded, stuck on a bus, and sent out. They don't even know where. There are these camps all across the country. Upon arrival, the blindfolds are removed. They're pulled off the bus to be separated into groups. She happens to look back and see one of the boys lean over and whisper into one of the guard's ears, and as she watches the guard's eyes sort of glass over, he reaches down, pulls out his gun, and shoots himself in the head, and the kids try and escape. Somehow this boy was able to put a thought into this guard's head to do this. This is the kind of abilities that some of these kids have, and thus make the population terrified of them, and the reason the government has sort of cracked down and gathered up all these kids. They describe these camps as rehabilitation camps, but they are far from that. They are basically prison camps. The kids have very little freedom. They're barely allowed to talk, especially not within the guard's presence, and it's just pretty horrific. Once she's there, they do, like I said, separate them into groups based on their abilities, and the blues and the greens, they have like a lesser dangerous abilities, and it gets progressively more dangerous as the colors go up from yellow to orange and eventually to red, like this one particular boy that she saw at the beginning of the story here. He was definitely a red. Not too long after her arrival and separation into groups and everything at the camp, most of the higher colors, the more dangerous colors, seem to disappear. They're taken away and do not return. So the camp is mostly filled with the blues and the greens. We come to discover, as the story progresses, Ruby is categorized into the groups of greens, but she's not really a green. Somehow she was able to convince the guards, not even realizing she was doing it, that she is a green, but she's in fact far from that. We kind of learn what her life is like in the camp is, like I said, pretty horrific. Basically, she's a prisoner with no freedom. She has one really good friend named Samantha, and just spends her days doing the jobs and chores that they force the kids to do. They survive on very little food, and they're treated very badly by the guards. As the story progresses, it starts to, I think there's a couple people, like one of them is like the doctor at the camp, comes to discover that Ruby is a lot more than she's been pretending to be, and she helps her escape. And this particular doctor says that she's part of this group called the Children's League, and it's their job to try to rescue the kids that are in the most danger, which will be the ones that are the higher ups in the color code. And she said that they were going to be discovered, and that they needed to get her out of the camp. Although Ruby comes to later doubt that this particular Children's League is all they're pretending to be, she doubts that they're really all concerned about her safety and her freedom, that they want something more from her. So she eventually escapes from this group as well. And a majority of the book finds Ruby linking up with 3 other kids who have escaped from other camps. One of them is Liam, who seems to be the leader of this particular band. Then there's Charles, known as Chubbs, and a very young girl, Suzumi, known throughout the book as Zoo. Each one of them has a different level of abilities, and they sort of reluctantly allow Ruby to join them for a short period of time. Chubbs particularly is a bit distrustful. They're all sort of on this mission to try and link up with this group that they've heard about, known as East River. It's run by a kid known as the Slip Kid, because he's slipped sort of authorities and gotten away from them. And it seems to be like a safe haven for kids with these abilities. and this particular boy known as the Slip Kid, they've heard is able to help out some of the kids, help them track down their parents or other things like that. And Liam and Chubbs are trying to deliver a letter from one of the boys that didn't make it out of their camp. So they're hoping that the Slip Kid can help them locate this person. And Ruby thinks that maybe if she connects with this particular kid as well, maybe he'll be able to help her locate where her grandmother is. She's sort of lost touch with her after her internment in this camp. And it's been many years that she's been in this camp. She was there for 6 years. So now at 16, she's on the run with these 3 kids and trying to find East River. So that's where most of the book takes place. They're on the run from not only the government that are trying to gather up all these kids and lock them up into these camps, but also now the Children's League that are trying to track them down. So there's a lot of danger beset on all sides. Ruby is also challenged by the abilities that she has within her that she is absolutely terrified of. She does not know how to control them, and after events that took place at her home when she was 10 years old, she's afraid to get close to anyone. But with this group, she finds herself drawn to the leader, Liam, and Liam also to her, but she's very scared to get close to him in any way, like I said, because of these events that took place. The book is very well written, very, very good paced. The ending was amazing. I need book 2 now. I can't recommend this highly enough. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. The world building, the abilities of these kids, everything about it. I definitely recommend this. Even the cover, this particular symbol, you'll find out what that means within the book. It's all relevant to the storyline. Beautifully made book. You agree, Skippy? Yep, she agrees. And I definitely recommend picking this one up. It was excellent. It is the first in the series. I'm not sure how many books are planned, but I think the next one might be coming out later this year. I haven't really looked into it, but I definitely will. And if I find out the information, I'll put it down below. Forgot to check that out before I started this video, but if you haven't had a chance to pick this one up, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, I highly recommend it, and have a good day. Bye-bye.